Okay, so hi, this is Planetary Talk, TwoDolphins from beautiful Scotland, and this was supposed to be a short video recording on Chiron Retrograde and a couple of movements that I find are less mentioned in astrological forecasts and weeklies around YouTube these days. I'm keeping an eye on them. I'm following my own horoscopes, and I find that this Chiron retrograde is not really in the focus, and there can be a good reason for that, which I will explain. But just to begin with, Chiron, which is not a planet, but it's a small celestial body like an asteroid, but it acts like a planet. And if you are familiar with mythology, then you know that Chiron was that ugly or sort of under-maintained rough man who was transporting the souls from the land of the living to the land of the dead. So Chiron in astrology is related to issues like passing and traumas and transformation from body to body, or from health to disease, or to sickness, or from sickness to health, and also acts as a little bit like a reaper figure. And I find that personally, I find that Chiron also has a lot to do with group karma, and when groups of souls decide that they will leave the earthly plane at once together to emphasize something for the society or the human family that is remaining here. So just to begin with, or just to continue with, Chiron retrograde in 2016 is between the 27th of June and the 30th of November. So I think it's pretty long. And basically, as I was looking through the astrological calendar, the aspects, how they call it, for 2016, and if you just Google Astrological Aspects 2016, you can find it on more sites. I use a particular one, but it doesn't mean that you have to stick to that one, so feel free to dive in. And I just went through this once again, and what I find that I can divide this Chiron retrograde to three main phases, or to three stages. And in astrology there are different conversations which are called aspects, and there are more mild or tender ones, or called fortunate ones, and then there are those that are more filled with tension, and by some people are considered to be less fortunate. And the more beneficent or more tender or mild aspects are the sextiles and trines, so the 60s and 30 degrees angles between celestial bodies. And then there are also the square aspects, 90 degrees things. I won't really talk about those. And then there are also what is called the opposition, when two celestial bodies are being face to face with each other, and those are considered to be the big aha moments, the moments of enlightening. So what I would like to say is that I looked through this Chiron calendar, and I started with the 14th of May, going up to the 29th of November, and I found that in the first stage there were these sextiles and trines, these very inspiring, very heartfelt and very encouraging aspects. from the 14th of May going up to the 17th of July, and then in August and September there will be the oppositions with Chiron involved, and then from the 11th of October going up to almost to the very end of this retrograde season for Chiron, the 29th of November, there will be again trines and sextiles. And the other interesting thing is that Chiron is boating, just referring back to the mythology where Chiron was riding a boat. Chiron is boating in Pisces, and Pisces in itself is the sign or the energy of healing and sacrifice, and healing the individual but also healing communities, like kind of spreading around the healing. And so Chiron is there. So I see it as the two basically strengthening each other or doubling the message. And Chiron will be, or already is, descending from the 25th degree of Pisces, coming down to the 20th degree of Pisces throughout this retrograde, when a celestial body is observed to be moving backwards, but it's just an illusion, but it looks like a backward movement, so it's called retrograde. So Chiron is and will be descending gradually these late or mature degrees of Pisces, and to me this kind of suggests that this retrograde phase for Chiron in 2016 will have a lot to do with relations and relationships and the relation between an individual and the wider community. And again, this message of group karma, keeps on coming back to me. And I was especially thinking about it in the light of the terrorist attacks, which were becoming more and more frequent in the past couple of months. Targeted, well-planned terrorist attacks on various communities and audiences and towns and locations around the earth. And what came into my mind was that amidst all this darkness, there are always those stories. Of course, we get the news, we get the tragic news, and it's hard to just comprehend it or even just try to comprehend what's happened. But I noticed that in each and every breaking news reporting a terrorist attack, there are these shining examples of positive human sacrifice for others, people, one person trying to protect another, people sacrificing their lives to protect a couple of others that are also in the room, or people refusing to leave the others behind, or people trying to help a wounded one, and sometimes in that process they get slaughtered themselves. So there's a lot of themes of altruism and sacrifice around these news, and trying to put the focus on, from the individual to the community, from the ego to the selflessness, from the darkness to the light. And I was just thinking to highlight all this in the mirror of this Chiron retrograde. when the oppositions will come between major celestial bodies and Chiron during August and September, this whole phase of oppositions, which are again those moments of enlightening and those aha moments, and when the lessons hit home, the peak point of it will be on the 15th of September, when the sun itself will oppose Chiron. Like the king or the father of all planets will oppose Chiron on the 22nd degree of Pisces, and the sun will be in Virgo, the 22nd degree of Virgo. Chiron will be in Pisces on the 22nd of degree of Pisces, and they will be moving from, during this opposition, they will be moving from the 22nd to the 55th degree. And these are master numbers, the 2 and 2 and 5 and 5. These are karmic master numbers. Also very goddessy energy numbers. The 15th of September is, in the Catholic Church, is the commemorating the Holy Mary as Our Lady of Sorrows. So kind of focusing on the Divine Mother in her loss and in her most painful moment of life. And I feel that the fact that this opposition will be captured on the 15th of September, while the sun is in Virgo and Chiron is in Pisces, this kind of evokes themes of the Holy Mother energies and the sun who is making the sacrifice. Because, you know, in astrology, Jesus Christ is often seen as Chiron, and those who study the astrology from the Christian point of view, if I can say so, those know that Jesus' teachings and his mission is associated with Pisces. And those people know that the Holy Mother Mary is associated with Virgo. So the sun will be in Virgo, Chiron will be in Pisces, and to me this kind of evokes the moment of the great sacrifice, and that will be the top opposition. After that, going up to the 30th of November, there will be again trines and sextiles with Chiron involved, but this will be the moment when the sun itself will do this final opposition, mastering the whole story. And the planets that are involved in this Chiron retrograde from the beginning are the so-called interpersonal planets. So these are Venus, Mars, Mercury, and the Sun himself. And what we need to know about these interpersonal planets is that they are heavily impacting on how we conduct our relationships, again, how we relate to others. So to me, all this says that this Chiron retrograde in 2016, after all, or in total, will be about social focus and social changes, and those efforts and positive sacrifices that we put into the big human family. And I think it's beautiful, because the Pluto-Uranus square that's been long ongoing, and it will carry on for a while, that shows that all these social reforms need to be done, but they need to be done in the spirit of harmony and leaving and putting power plays aside. That is Pluto, or or the aggressivity practiced on other people aside, or the deprivation of other people aside. And then with this Sun in Virgo and Chiron in Pisces on the 15th of September, I feel that the message is really clear that we have to put in the efforts for our human family. We have to bring healing by positive sacrifices, by giving ourselves to the human family and the community, by being selfless, and by practicing this gentle and loving side of all of us, whether male or female, that is the Divine Mother. So this was just a little rumination about Chiron Retrograde in 2016, and also like a first video. Thank you for watching, and if you would like to get in touch, you can find the contact details in the description of this video. Bye for now.